Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 and we're going to see how it fits on the back of our 2022 Ford Maverick. So if you're looking for a bike rack that's both compact and lightweight, I think the Sherpa is an excellent choice. And it will work with a pretty wide range of bikes too. The one caveat to that is that the weight capacity isn't really up to spec for e-bikes. You can handle 40 pounds per tray here, so still pretty good, just not the best fit if you've got heavier bikes. But with the way it holds each bike by the front tire here, we're not making any sort of frame contact, meaning it's a good option for your carbon frame and alternative frame bikes. Now you can tilt the rack away from your Maverick whenever you're needing access to the bed. Just pull the pedal by the front tray, ease it down a bit, and you can open up that tailgate partially. I've got the support raised up to the upper peg here so that it stops it at this angle. In this position, it makes no contact with the bike or the rack, so it allows you to hands-free be able to get things out of the bed, whether it be your helmet or a cooler, and it's nice that you don't have to fully sacrifice this function of your tailgate. When you're all done, just walk back around, grab by somewhere stable, and just lift straight up until that pedal clicks back into place. Getting your bike unloaded is really straightforward though. The back tire is going to have a strap going around the wheel. Just press the button and pull that ratcheting strap out. Then we can turn our attention to the front hook where we just have a button release, push up and out on that hook, get it out of the way of our tire, and we can lift the bike up and away. Now because that hook folds out pretty far, it is pretty easy. You just have to lift up a little bit higher because this does stick up pretty tall from the ground, but overall not too bad, especially for your 40-pound bikes. Before we fold things up to the storage position though, I do want to take a couple measurements. First, checking out our ground clearance. I know I mentioned it's pretty good, but at the back end, we're getting 23.5 inches of clearance from the ground. That's pretty impressive. It doesn't mean you'll have to lift up a little bit more with your bikes, but it also means you won't have to worry about steep driveways and hills with your Maverick. For the bumper clearance to the outer point of the rack, we're sitting at 33 inches. Not too bad for a 2-bike rack. It does stick out a little further than most, but it's not terrible. Just something to be mindful of as you're driving around. But if you're driving around unloaded, just take that pedal from before and push up on the rack to fold it to the compact storage position. In this position, it's only going to add 15 inches from the back of your bumper. So much easier to drive around with, and in some cases, depending on your garage at home, what kind of room you're working with, you might be able to park in the garage with the rack on. But at the very least, it will make parking and driving a lot easier. If you are driving folded like this though, do be aware that it'll block your license plate pretty much completely. That tray just lines up perfectly with how low it sits. And your backup camera is also going to be pretty obstructed. You might be able to get some visibility in this gap here, but for the most part, the tray lines up with your field of view, so I'd rely more heavily on your mirrors whenever you are in reverse. At the back, the rack has an integrated anti-rattle knob, so if I loosen that up, we can see there's a bit more shake in the hitch, and as I tighten it down, that pretty much disappears completely, and it's going to keep things nice and solid in the hitch, keeping it from moving around. But even though that anti-rattle knob is tool-free, people shouldn't be able to mess with your rack because it does come with a locking hitch pin. We can also see here that it's fitting inside of our 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube, so it's going to work really well for your Maverick. And thanks to the aluminum construction, the Sherpa is also going to be extremely lightweight. And that's really one of my favorite things about this rack, is the weight and how compact it gets. It doesn't take up much room on the back of the Maverick, and when you go to store it in your garage, it's going to be quick to install or uninstall, and you're not going to have to struggle too much to move it. Because not everyone needs an e-bike capable rack. They tend to be heavier and bigger anyway, so if you don't have the need for that heavier weight capacity, then there's no use in paying for it and dealing with the added bulk. But if you do need an e-bike capable rack and you like this style, I'd recommend looking at the Rocky Mounts monorail. It's going to be a very similar design with that front wheel hook, except it has a 60-pound weight capacity. It fits about the same on the back of the Maverick here, giving you partial tailgate clearance and things like that. And I think it's a pretty comparable choice overall. But personally, I think if you don't have the need for that heavy weight capacity, the Sherpa is a really great way to go. And this has just been our look at how it fits on the back of our 2022 Ford Maverick. My name's Aiden. Thanks for watching.